Alright guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. So today we're going to talk about some essential things that a device should have when you start to pay a lot of money for them. Now, this is the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. This is the 512 gig version. I did not do a pre-order, so I ended up paying, the regular price for it, the higher price for the memory upgrade. I did have like $100 off or something like that, a gift card at Best Buy or something like that, so I used that. But nonetheless, I walked right into Best Buy and got this when I swapped out my first one that I had. That was a 256 gig. And today we're going to be talking about some of the essentials that every phone should have, if we're going to call it a Pro or an Ultra and all these different things. And the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra literally checks a lot of boxes, but that doesn't mean it's going to be the device for you. This is just a quick commentary and discussion about, the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. And if you have the device, just try to keep an open mind. Don't try not to lean more towards this device because you really like it, and just kind of see things for what I'm saying. So I'm going to start with the price. I didn't do a trade-in through Samsung. I bought mine from Best Buy, so I only had like $100 off. And then also I didn't get the free memory upgrade. So some people got this device with the trade-in. They also got it at a very good deal with the free memory upgrade that they offered. Good deal. You did right by doing the pre-order. I actually pre-ordered the S23 Plus and got the free memory upgrade. This is a 512 Plus. Now I did do it for that, so that's good. But for this one, I was on the fence about it until I got an actual review unit, and then I liked it, and it was too late for me to really get that memory upgrade. But the pricing on this is, fairly steep for today's market. Some will say it's about today's standards. This is the pricing, but in reality, we should all be trying to get the lowest price point on phones and the most bang for our buck. And so right now you can get like the Pixel 7 Pro, the OnePlus 11, the OnePlus 10 Pro. You can get all these different devices that are flagships that pretty much do the same thing as this device, and it does it. Those devices might do it better in some areas. So the price is important. This still is very high in price, and not because I paid. Even when I do trade-ins, I'm still going to talk about the price and let you guys know. I mean, this is something that where it fails. It doesn't matter what I paid for it or what you paid for it. The price is still higher than what we are actually getting for our funds, I say. So I don't think any device, unless you're looking at Pixels and Motorola's and OnePluses, those devices are worth the money when it comes to, in my opinion, when it comes to value to consumer. So these Samsung devices, though, you're paying a high price, like you're paying for iPhones, and they don't offer the value to consumer. They may have a lot of features and things like that, but to a consumer, it's still too high in price for the average consumer to obtain this, and they end up doing trade-ins and giving up great devices, or they end up getting on monthly plans for 3 years. And so that lets you know it's not really that good of a value to a consumer. So price has always been an issue for me with a lot of these devices that not just Samsung offers, but anyone who's asking more than $900 or $800 for a device, and then there's other devices that have more or do the same thing, there's no justification there. So there's always going to be this $300 to $500 gap in between what's value for the consumer and what's not. So price, that's never going to please me probably unless I'm shopping elsewhere, and that's the way you should see that too. Now, network connectivity is something that a lot of people don't talk about, and I try to address this as much as possible when I'm thinking about it, because when I'm in a zone with the device, I'm not thinking about the network. I'm just using it and not realizing, hey, this actually is, pretty good network on here. So I could run a speed test. I could do all these different things, but that doesn't mean anything. Where does the device fail me, and where does it help me the most? So I would say using the S23 Ultra, the network has been about a solid, out of 100, it's been a solid 98 or 99. Because there has been places where I've gone, and I'm using this on the T-Mobile network. This is the unlocked version. All of mine are the unlocked versions. But still, I predominantly use it on T-Mobile's network, and also use one on Fi as well. I decided to put everything, because I only have so many SIM cards. So I'm using one on Fi. I'm going to put one on Boost as well. I need to go ahead and do that and see if it'll work on Boost. It should. And then I've got this one on T-Mobile. So, T-Mobile's network is overall solid most of the time, but sometimes some phones just work better on a network. Like sometimes when I'm using, like my wife is using hers on Cricket, She actually has the Plus, and she's using hers on Cricket Wireless, and man, her service is flawless everywhere we go. And you know, no cutouts, no nothing. So it's clearly going to be down to the network that you're using it on. However, T-Mobile is supposed to be the stronger network, and sometimes depending on the device I'm using, there's no issues with networks on phones. So the Plus, the Plus right here, this one is giving absolutely no issues whatsoever. Let me turn this, make sure I don't get any notifications here. The Plus is giving me no problems whatsoever on network because I'm using this one on Google Fi. And so with Google Fi, you have multiple networks that is locking on to, but honestly, Google Fi pretty much is just T-Mobile, folks. 99% of the time, I'm locked onto a T-Mobile tower. So that doesn't really mean anything that it's on Google Fi sometimes, but when I'm traveling, then I see, okay, hey, I think this switched over. I can see and check the network. Okay, I check use an application to check what towers I'm pinging off of. And only when I go into certain areas I realize it's not on T-Mobile. But that is very rare. And so ultimately, they're just using T-Mobile as their primary network. And that's fine. But network overall experience, it's only failed me in the Ultra a couple of times where I was somewhere and it just was no service. Now, I will say there is a place where I shop sometimes, like at an outlet, and it used to be no service out there for me. And I found myself, I was in the Nike outlet the other day, and I was like, whoa, I got full 5G UC with T-Mobile in here, and it has never been like that. So that was a huge improvement with this phone for some reason because of the more bands. But some other phones might not have all the bands, and then they don't work in that area. I've definitely been in the Nike outlet, and I was with one of my iPhones. I forgot which one it was, and that was just no service. Meanwhile, my wife has full service with Cricket. And then she has a T-Mobile SIM card too, so she's been in there with T-Mobile on an iPhone, and there's no service. But she's also been in there before. We've been in there before with no service with an Android phone. So it just depends if the Android phone has the bands, and this phone has the bands. The network should be important to you. I mean, because there's no use of getting a device and then it doesn't work for you, and you end up having tons of network issues, and it's just not a good look. So the price and the network are very important to me, and I just think that's something that we all should, especially the network, man. You make sure you choose a device that has a lot of bands, and this is why I buy unlocked phones most of the time, because most of them are going to have all the bands that are required for me to work everywhere. But the Ultra and this S23 lineup is really doing great, you know, when it comes to network, because I'm giving it a 98% basically out of 100, you know, because it's failed me a couple of times in certain areas, but overall, you know, I've had a great experience with the network, and that's just important to me because I do a lot of phone calls. I mean, a boatload of phone calls because these are phones, and so that's what I need to take care of business with. So yeah, network is solid overall. And, you know, I think that's just what it is, because the build quality is going to do a lot with the network. If you have a lot of aluminum, and it depends where you're like the iPhones tend to have weaker signal, but this one has antenna bars. It's got one right there. It's got the 5G antenna right here, another antenna there, another antenna on the top there, another one here, and you got some more on the bottom one too. So this is, you know, important to me. So I need to be able to make phone calls. I can't be on a phone call and it's cutting out, choppy and everything. So all right, now the next thing that's important to me, obviously, is battery. And I had some battery woes when I had my first one that I purchased from Best Buy. It was a 256 gig cream model, and I did want to get the cream again, but when I went to replace it, all they had was black, and so I got black. So as you can see here, the battery life is just different on this one for me. It's just different. I want to show you. So far, I've got 4 hours and 15 minutes of screen on time with 48% left. But my 7-day, you can see overall, I charged it yesterday, so I haven't charged it at all today. So for the last 12 hours, I've got an hour and 45 minutes from 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. I've got an hour and 46 minutes. And you know, yesterday I charged it. I think I charged it right before. No, I charged it in the evening time. So it hasn't been charged since approximately maybe that was at about 6. I'm not even sure. But nonetheless, you can see my time here. You can see the usage here. It was last charged. Okay, yeah, it was last charged 18 hours ago. So yeah, well, yep, 6:30 or so basically. And it's saying that I have 22 hours left. And I doubt that, but I'm at 48% left. And you can see I do a lot of traveling. Those are my maps and my music. That's a good indication of what I was doing basically. You can see I have maps and music. Now the music's actually going, the music should mimic the maps because I've listened to Apple Music the entire time. Yes, I keep Apple Music stored on every device because that's my primary, that's the one I like the most. And Android Auto should be different too. They should all be kind of matching that maps. But I guess it's because I was switching between the two. But nonetheless, I just need to report that, shout out to Mobile Gears, I was watching this last video. If you haven't seen it, check it out. He got the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. He ordered one of the bespoke ones. But the battery life should be like at the top of your list. It is important and imperative that we stay on these companies that pushing us the biggest battery as possible. You should. This device can really fit a bigger battery capacity. It doesn't physically have to grow. Like, I mean, I know that you're gonna say, oh Jay, yes it does. Haven't you seen very thin phone? You know what, even if you don't want to increase the battery, at least they've increased the battery efficiency with the processor coupled with everything that's put together in this device. Now, I might have just had a fluke on my cream one. It has nothing to do with it being cream. I don't think it has anything to do with it being... Now, I do want to say that it might be that I kept running out of RAM because that was an 8 gig RAM version. And it was pushing so hard. It was working so hard. The device might have been working harder in the background than I knew. You see what I'm saying? So that might be what it is. Who knows? I don't know. I just know that I exchanged it and all they had was black. And I just went up to a 512 with the higher RAM. And, you know, this is the package. This is what everybody else is using. And this is the device that a lot of people are reporting flawless battery. Now, to defense of that, I'll get back on this one more time. The review unit I had was 256 gig and 8 gigs, and it was great on battery, you know. So, nonetheless, battery life is great on here. I mean, I don't have an issue with battery life. Now, the battery life obviously is better on the S22 Plus because it has a 1080p display, but I've been tweaking this battery, tweaking the device, and I shouldn't have to do that. I use Battery Saver sometimes. It's on right now, but it's the Battery Saver where you're not fully, let me just go into it here. It's on right now. And the reason that I'm getting this better battery life is because of this. When I turn this off, I get just pretty much a day, and I don't keep it on all the time. But when I'm out and about, I don't turn on the Ultra. As you can see, the Ultra is off, but I just turn on the regular Battery Saver. I still get all my notifications. Everything still works. It's just kind of slowing the device down as far as pushing it heavy with processing and everything like that. So the Ultra's battery just won't match these other two. And even though the S23 as well has a 3900 milliamp hour battery, it still matches. If both of these match, if not beat the Ultra when I have on the Quad HD display and everything, you know, I mean, it's just what it is. Because this phone for me, just everyone has been reporting just great battery, and I have to use mine like this because maybe I'm a heavier user than I think. I do have like several emails syncing that I need, but there's nothing wrong with the way I'm using my battery. I'm not going to keep returning, exchanging phone. I'm not going to do that. So when I have Quad HD running, when I have it at 120 hertz, when I don't have any kind of power saving going, I'm barely making it through a day. And I find that strange because I see everybody else saying, oh no, I made it. I got everything tweaked. I got my brightness up. But I guess we're all different. We're all using different amount of apps. I only put apps on here that I'm actually going to use. And that's just how it is. All of my phones, not just these 3 phones, but every phone I have has the same apps on it. So it's just the way this screen is pushing with this. It's just, to me, it just can't handle the Quad HD display for the apps that I have and the way I'm using my device. And I use the camera a lot too. So using the camera for video, it drains your battery a lot faster. And that's on any phone. So For me, I have to use it like this in order to get the best battery. And that is the way I was able to obtain this battery. I had to go with Quad HD display off. I had to use battery saver sometimes and limit the activities in the background. That's it. And I'm able to obtain all the battery that I want. Now, the crazy part is I don't have to do that with my Pixel 7 Pro. I don't have to do that. Does that mean that the Pixel 7 Pro is more efficient? I mean, the Tensor chip, the Tensor G2 is actually a really solid chip. So I don't know. I just think that all the features that Samsung has on their devices, it kills the battery for me with, the Quad HD display turned on. This is one of the first times, because it's so strange. On my other Samsung products, here is my S22 Ultra and my Z Fold 4. These all stay at the highest resolution, but they were great on battery. They're lasting just as long, if not longer, than this battery with Quad HD display turned off. Now, this device isn't broken in yet. This device is only about 2 weeks old. So it's going to work over time. I'm going to turn off the battery thing. I'm just going to train this battery this way first, and then I'll turn off the battery saving and turn it up to Quad HD whenever I can get things going with the battery a little bit longer. But preserving the battery life is important. So performance on here has been nothing short of great. Now I use the S Pen. I've been using the S Pen a lot. Now, the S Pen is one of the main reasons I got this device, because I enjoy being able to do certain things with the S Pen. Now, I always give this quiz. Like, you guys are probably tired of me saying the same thing every time with this, but you all know which one is my favorite. If you know which one is my favorite, go ahead and put it in the comments. I have two that are really, I need them. Like every day, I need to use these two. And so, I won't say what they are, but the S Pen is one of the best features of this device. And so the performance coupled with the S Pen and all the features and options, that kind of hurts the battery. But for me, it's worth it. It is worth it. I use the S Pen a lot on the why am I doing this to show my boy? He was over there just chilling. So there we go. There's that nice powder blue color that I got. But using the S Pen, I use the S Pen on the Z Fold 4 too, because the S Pen functionality is just one of the best things that Samsung has ever done for themselves. And the fact that they have it being able to store it inside of the device, they're winning when it comes to this, because no one's doing this properly yet. So, the performance with the S Pen, and then you have DeX, you have wireless DeX. I have a Type-C monitor, so I can just plug right in with DeX. That is a nice feature to use. Like, and it doesn't require, it's phantom power, so, phantom power, it just uses the device to power whatever you're powering. So you don't need an external plug for it. And I think that's one of the huge advantages I have, because if I want to record with this device, I can plug in my Type-C monitor and have a way bigger display and make sure that I'm in view, it's in focus. I could do all those things with it. And that is how I like to use plugging in with DeX, because I've done that so many times with DeX, man. It's just so nice to be able to plug in this device with a phantom power Type-C monitor. If you don't have one of those and you say you love DeX, you're slipping, because you don't want to have to carry around extra cables and stuff like that when it comes to DeX. You want to just be able to plug up with Type-C, boom, no dongles, no nothing, and just control everything from the device if you can. And that is the way I like to do DeX. I do use DeX in that context a lot. Like, I've edited and stuff just because I wanted a bigger screen. I just didn't want to, I wanted to just sit on the couch or something. I just pop that monitor on my leg or something, or just put it up on the side and boom, done. So the performance with the Snapdragon Gen 2, coupled with the RAM, coupled with Samsung software, there needs to be a lighter version of this software. And I remember TouchWiz, everybody kind of clowned TouchWiz at some point or another, but TouchWiz was like the foundation of what got Samsung where they are. So I say that if Samsung makes a lighter skin of this, it's going to be even better. It's going to be great. So Something that this device has that a lot of phones don't have is a beautiful display. Now let me open up something here. I'm gonna go to videos as my dog starts barking and getting close to this. Well, look at this. I've never seen this before. You got 700 likes. Your shorts are getting a lot of attention. View analytics. Pretty nice. I'll post that up later. Okay, be quiet, dog. Yeah, Amazon has all my little packages coming. So let's look at, let's just look at this.
As owner of Mint Mobile.
All right. Let's go here. I got a nice video coming for you guys too, man. All right, so this phone has a beautiful display. Now, even though I have Quad HD turned off, you can upscale. Now, Samsung has something that others don't have, which is everyone's probably using Samsung's panels in their devices, and this is one of the best displays just ever. These Samsung's displays just keep getting better and better and better. And the crazy part is this display is great. This display is great. That display is awesome. And this display is great. Of all the displays that I've gotten from them, the Fold 4 has got to be my favorite because it gets, you know, the flex mode is just crazy. So, I mean, Samsung has this advantage over others. And then also they have the advantage of a nice set of speakers that you can shoot with this particular device. And in this video, I'm going to show you some footage from the device, and hope that it could. Those are some beautiful speakers. Just the overall, you know, trying to enjoy yourself with the device. This is it, man. I can see why a lot of people buy this larger device, and they just want this big canvas. Well, the screen on here, Samsung has a huge advantage in that aspect. So we'll see how this plays out over time. If anybody, I'm surprised, like Sony has 4K displays. Samsung hasn't done a 4K display yet, and they very well can. But like I said, I'm struggling with the Quad HD. So, you know, if they do a 4K display, they're really going to have to do some tweaking to their software. And so two more things, hardware on this is where I think in another area that I think they should improve. You're probably like, improve? No, this hardware feels premium. This is great hardware. It is sexy. And I got to tell you, the black and sexy, the Phantom Black is super crazy in person, man. I like the cream, but the Phantom Black is super sexy at those different angles. That mat it just looks crazy, folks. And it looks like a really deep black, then a deep gray, then another lighter black. It's just crazy. So, I mean, the hardware is the same topic with me. It's just the boxy corners. Get rid of that and make it more round like this, and I'm totally happy. Get rid of that, make it more round like this. I'm totally happy. I'm not gonna beat that horse up. Now, Samsung put on some cameras here, and they put on a set of cameras that are just sick. Let's just be clear here. These are some of the sickest cameras in the game, period. They have really shown and proved that they can do cameras, and they have really proved to me that they can do video. The downside of that is you don't need to buy this device in order to get great video from Samsung. You actually can buy this device, which is cost the least amount of them all. It gives you the same performance in cameras, footage. This thing does 8K at 30 frames per second, as you can see. You got RAW, Pro video, anything you can think of is in here. One slept-on feature is the director's view. That is a slept-on feature. Now, obviously, I'm going to use it, but you know, it's not going to be something that I'm using regularly. But I say it's a slept-on feature because if I did need to use that for something, there are so many options inside of that functionality of that section for the camera. It's incredible. Now, obviously, my favorite is portrait video. I think that's just got to be one of the best features ever. Now, photos, man, I've been zooming in on stuff, but you can actually change. Now, here's where the camera is a 200 megapixel camera, but it doesn't come set default to 200. You have to actually set it and over here. So now you have 200 and you have 50. Now you lose, you know, your quick access right here. You lose some of these. So you only now goes up to 6 times zoom with this. And then if you can go to 50 megapixel, there you go. So you can take high res photos. And let me grab something to take a picture of here real quick. Just grabbing something here. Let me clean this off. It's gonna get. And you see the natural, you'll see the natural portrait coming from this man. It's just crazy. Now, I didn't notice any shutter lag, did you? And that was one of their high res photos. The processing on here was sick. So I don't notice any shutter lag. As you can see there, that's at f1.7, and it's 16,320 by 240. That's a 20 megapixel photo. Did you see any shutter lag? I didn't. So Samsung has proven to me that they are on their game, and I don't think that they missed a beat with this device. Now, that's not saying that some will say this is the best device in the world. Okay, that's hard for me to say because I have a lot of devices. But in the end, you are right. If you're holding this device and you feel like it's the best device in the world, who am I to tell you it's not? Simply put. To me, they can still do some work in some areas with that battery, the efficiency with the processor. This is why Apple wins. My 13 Pro, my small 13 Pro has better battery than this. And I don't tweak the battery. I don't do anything to that device. But it's also broken in, remember. But still, the 13 lineup was one of the best lineups for battery. But they can tweak that stuff on the battery. You know what I mean? Work on this hardware a little bit more. Maybe I would call it the best device in the world. But for now, with the price as high as it is, and few tweaks and me nitpicking it here and there, I don't think it's the best device in the world by a long shot, because there are so many untapped markets and other devices that do it better than this. They're just not in the US. It's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed the S23 Ultra. This thing is phenomenal. Leave a comment down there below, and I'll try to get a reply to you if I can. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.